Hello, neighbor. So this is Novels and Pits podcast, and I'm your host, Chizoba Katie. I don't quite know if I'm getting the hang of this video podcast yet because I keep switching up my background. The other day was in my room. The other day I was at somewhere that had a white background, and today I'm using the car because the thing is, I'm still getting into the headspace of all of this. Audio is quite easy to record. You can just go to wardrobe and record. But when it comes to video, you have to let me get my hair down. Let me get my face down. Oh, let me shower. Let me find a place that's quiet enough to take all of this. And honestly, it makes me just want to go back to audio, lucky. But really, tell me, do you like this video podcast? Because depending on your feedback, it really just does keep me going. Okay, today, let's continue Reckless. And final part. A quick rundown to this point where we're at. Okay, so the whole story is basically the story between Theo Silva and Winter Hamilton, right? They met each other. They were like cat and dog. Theo is younger than Winter by 2 years old. I mean, at the time they met, he was 26, she was 28. Now, fast forward 18 months later, that's a year and a half later, she's 31, which makes him 29. And since then, a lot has happened, which includes they had a baby together, and he didn't know because it was like after a whole one night stand thing. And now that he's back in the picture, he wants to be there, he wants to be this daddy person, and he's been so great, except for that one night he panicked, when he found out. He's really been so great with Vivian, that's their daughter Vivi. And honestly, the whole thing had just been to Winter, why is he making everything look easy? Because she hasn't been okay, everything has been tough on her. But Theo just swoops in this baby daddy, hot daddy, and he's just killing it. And she's just this is not normal, right? And also there is the chemistry between them. It's still there and they're not talking about it. They're actually choosing to ignore it. And that's not okay, because this is going to combust in a second now. But anyway, Theo is back to win Winter over for good. Not just oh, it's just a one night stand thing now. No, he's I want this lady in my life and I want to be the kind of man who deserves her. Okay, so that's why he's working hard to change the reputation he used to have as a bad boy, good lay. And also he's just being there for her. But Winter is not used to that. She's used to people antagonizing her, used to people seeing her as cold, unapproachable, and all of those nasty other things. She feels like Theo is on her side, right? And she wants it to stay that way. She doesn't want them to get into lovers territory. On one hand, she really wants them to, but on the other hand, she's they're friends now. They're in a good place. Let her not mess things up. So we're about to get into that whole scene, because where we ended things last time is that she ran from him. And what happened is that her younger sister, Summer, this is her wedding. There, Theo is trying to initiate conversation to show her that, that I'm actually looking for something between us to happen. And she's just evading the conversation. She just keeps talking about champagne. And he's Winter, I'm talking to you. Because she was evading him, he tried to make a joke. And it turned out to be a bad joke, because he said something along the lines of, is it hard for you to believe that I want 8 seconds of the rigid ice queen sister? Because here's the thing. Winter is a cold, unapproachable sister, matching her name, while Summer is a bright, sunny one, matching her name. And that reputation has followed both of them literal all their lives, and Winter hates it. It's given her a really hard time in life. And Theo has proved to be the exception when it comes to how other people see her. So him saying this now was a big, oh no, you didn't go there. She didn't take it as a joke. She took it seriously. She got really angry and then got really sad and was in tears. And then she ran out of the wedding hall. And then he gave a chase oh, no, you don't go running from me. You don't go avoiding me. I mean, I've been putting my best foot forward since I showed up here a month ago and found out that I have a daughter out of the blue. And I've been trying to win you over. And because I just say one thing that it was meant to be a joke, you run from me. No, I'm not going to have that, lady. So he pursues her, really pursues her. She goes to the bathroom, or the washroom like they call it here, and she's in tears and she's trying to block him, with the door, lock herself inside the washroom. And he's oh, no, you don't. So he badges his way inside and he locks the door and demands to know oh, I locked that door, so you're not going out, I'm not going out, we're going to talk this out. That's the situation right now. So he's demanding to know, why do you think so low of me, Winter? Because both of them are frustrated at this point. They're frustrated in terms of, what are you asking me for? And what am I asking you for? Why are we not finding a middle ground? None of us is getting what we want. This is the situation right now. Because he's done everything at this point to show her that he's not her dad. who left her, or her ex, who's like an absolute like jerk, right? But she just got doubtful over one single joke. To her, it's like, that's how everybody has seen me in summer. And then he starts walking close to her. And then he now touches her jaw, like traces it. Says, why is that the more I give you, the less you give? And she doesn't answer. So with that, he's like, okay. I mean, I've done all I can, so I'm just going to give up at this point. So he now turned around to leave. And then that's when Winter now shouted out, you know, in tears, like, because I want you, Theo, I want this. And it terrifies me because it scares me what it do to Vivi if we don't work. We're friends now, and I'm happy. We're safe the way things are. And honestly, I can't handle you. I can't handle one more person hating me. I can't handle you hating me. And she just pours out her heart there to him. This is why she's been resistant. This is why she was deviating and trying to avoid the conversation when he was trying to make his intentions known to her. She's basically sobbing. And this is Winter up until like a month ago, until Theo showed up. She doesn't cry. No matter what happens, Winter doesn't cry. She holds herself together. But ever since Theo showed up like a month ago, you know, when Vivi was 9 months old, she's been like, any small thing, Mom, just celebrate everything. It's like hard. I don't take hormones. It's this. So it's nice to see her character grow in this manner because she needs the tears. She needs to let it all out. Theo's response to hearing her confession, which is so manly, he takes 2 steps towards her. And you know that they're like these 2 steps that cover up distance really quickly. And then he kisses her. And then he promises that he could never hate her. So they ended up making out feel well. And then she's all like touching him all over, like, yeah, you know, since I've let out my heart to you right now, so why not just go all the way? Yeah, like, let's do it. So let's just do it. So they do. And after everything, he cleans her up. And she asks, but truly, when you said that since that day, that night, 18 months ago, there's been no one, you were teasing me, right? That's not true, right? And then he's like, it's really been no one. In reply to this, obviously she's like feeling all giddy. Then she now says, are you not gonna ask me about my own self? Like, if there's not been anyone since that day for me? Then his reply is, you know, I love this reply. He says, I don't care. Like, it's not, I don't care. Then she just goes ahead to reply and says, actually, there's been no one since that night. And he was like, I know. Because there'll be no point of you deciding to do it with someone else because they can't make you feel the things that I make you feel. Coming out of this washroom, right? And then what do you know? Of all persons is Kip, Winter's dad. He gets in the hallway. And Winter, when she sees him, she feels like a little girl all over. Because in as much as this man hasn't been like a dad to her, the little girl in her still wants his approval. And she's all like tugging her down her dress and stuff like that. But she's not the one her dad comes for, right? Kip, K-I-P, he comes for Theo, like, you've had my daughter in there for an unholy hour. And then the baby, like, what's that? What's with the baby? Did you impregnate my daughter? Like, you know, that kind of thing. And oh my God, Theo goes savage here. Okay, that's when he's like, you will move out of the way, right? Like, first of all, don't you dare call my babe, don't you dare call my daughter baby. She has a name. Her name is Vivian. And then as for your daughter, as for Winter is not your daughter. Like, as for, you know, you are more a dad to Summer, so you can go claim she's your daughter, but this one is not. So leave her, free her matter. The way he stood up for her and now said at the end that first of all, he also has talk with them on Monday as per firing talk and everything, because Winter's dad is his agent. Like, his company, Hamilton Elite, manages Theo, you know, Theo's sports career. But Theo, based on what they've done to keep him from knowing about Winter and the whole treatment, and now that he's found out everything and that Winter has never been treated right, not even by her own dad, or he's never stood up for her, he's like done with them. Like, I'm just gonna end this fight come Monday. But for right now, we're going home. I think this is a Saturday, yeah? On their drive back home to the house, Winter now said, hey Theo, I'd like you to move in with I and Vivi, because I don't like you staying next door. So, and he's like, oh, Winter did this. She's offering, she's actually asking me to move in. The time they got home, Loretta, that is Theo's mom, was watching Vivi. Then she now left, as per she went over to Theo's house next door, but Theo ended up staying over. Winter actually just told him, hey, I laid out an extra toothbrush for you, like one small invitation. So that night, 3 of them, they shared a bed. Like, Winter, Theo, and their baby Vivi. By the time Winter woke up in the morning, Vivi was like sprawled on her dad's chest like starfish. And on Sunday, the family just spent this perfect day together. You know, the whole breakfast, play with the kiddo. Oh, just the idyllic kind of setting before the storm. Then come Monday, Theo goes to the company, Hamilton Elliott, to show downtown with Geoff and Kip. So Kip finds out that actually Theo didn't know that Winter was pregnant, because another thing Kip was confronting Theo about is, did you abandon my daughter for 18 months even though she had your child, and you just swooped down to the picture and now you're seducing her in the washroom? You know, that was Kip's, you know, mentality that night, was confronting Theo, even though he wasn't in the best place to be the one confronting, because it's not like he's been quite there for Winter, you know, much. He just mostly acts awkwardly around her and avoids her, and it's not entirely his fault, because you're gonna see. So by the time Kip now finds out, oh, you didn't actually know that, you know, she was expecting because of this ass Geoff who works for me, and he ends up respecting Theo for standing up for Winter, you get. But Theo still says, I still fire you, right? I still fire you from being my agent, and I fired Geoff. When he was leaving, he now overheard Kip also firing Geoff, because Geoff is Kip's employee, and Theo was happy, like, yep, Geoff, you get double fired. Showdown time with Rob, like the first showdown time. Rob is Winter's ex-husband, who's a doctor, like a surgeon, a jerk, and he was also the person who abused Summer, like really abused Summer, like was sleeping with her, like he's really a child predator, really. But when he comes home, he's still like all charged up with adrenaline from having confronted, you know, Winter's dad at Hamilton Elliott. So he's feeling charged up, and then he sees this car, this sort of flashy car, in front of the house, like in front of Winter's house, and he just goes to knock on the window, and the person lowers, and what do you know, it's Rob. So he's like, well, what are you here doing? And Rob has the guts to say, I'm here to see my wife. Oh my god, Theo saw it. He was like, so he said a lot of jabbing things, but including this one, like, hey, I've been enjoying her since before you even saw divorce papers. Like the evening that Winter, you know, Winter hadn't been sleeping with Rob since she found out what he did to Summer. Like he actually, you know, groomed her until she was 18 and started sleeping with her, and still abandoned Summer to come to Winter. You get that kind of thing. So when since the day she found out, she'd not been sleeping in the same room with Rob before she now eventually left him. And on the day that she left him to come to Chestnut Springs, that's when she had a one night stand with Theo. That was before she officially served, what's his name, Rob, divorce papers. So just to rub it in, Theo had to bring that up, like, I was already enjoying her even before you saw divorce papers. As far, what do you want to do about it? Rob got angry and started driving away, and then to shove it in more, so Theo had an empty coffee cup, so he just threw it in through the window that was down, as far, let the trash go where the trash belongs. Yeah. And Winter saw, she was laughing. Theo also threatened restraining others on Rob. When Rob drives off, he has something lame attached to, like, as his license plate, Dr. Hart. This confrontation with Rob now led Theo to asking Winter, so hey, how far this Rob guy, when I never deal with him finish? That's when Winter confessed that I've never actually reported him to the medical council, because I didn't want to drag Summer into it, especially now since she's found some peace in her life. But then something has to get done. So when Theo is not around now, because at this moment Vivi already started saying mama, which is unusual. Most kids say that at first, right? But I think this is well deserved, since Winter has been in the baby's life longer. But just because, well, Theo has been around and he's been trying so hard, so Winter wanted to surprise him by getting Vivi to say dada. So she's just trying to get him to say dada. Hey, say dada. And she keeps pointing. But then instead of saying dada, children, they will do the opposite of what you want them to do. She just kept pointing at Winter and saying, mama, mama. And then next thing, Peter came rolling in, that Theo's dog that looks really ugly. And Vivi now pointed to Peter and said, da. So Winter was like, I can never let Theo find out that Vivi possibly said dog before she said dada. The whole thing led her to missing Theo, who at that moment he's working out at the gym. So she just said, okay, I am not even going to pretend anymore. I miss this guy. I want to go see him. So she scoops up Vivi, her mended heart and broken brain, because obviously she cannot reason logically when it comes to him, and she goes to see him at Summer's gym. So when they're there, Theo was training this hot girl, right? And Winter was jealous. Yeah, she was like watching them. The next thing, after a while, Theo now came over and was like, Winter, you're my girl. She's like, I'm your girl, because they've never really like put a label on anything. They know they're co-parents, but it's not like between them they've actually set out any word and said, okay, we're a thing or we're not a thing. But Theo makes it official. He comes Winter as his girl and he kisses her in the middle of Summer's gym. So he takes her out on a date and dancing. I mean, he's good at dancing and she's surprised. Apparently, he learned from his parents. So Winter suspects that even though he's all like cheerful and bright about, oh, his whole dad thing and he's close to his mom, she suspects that he still has his own dose of daddy issues. A few weeks later, I think Vivi's close to 11 months at this point. So Theo has to leave for the road. He's recovered enough to get back into season and bull riding and possibly get to win a championship. So that morning, the family, when I say the family right now, is like Theo, Winter, and Vivi. So they were talking, like they were just talking, and next thing Winter's eyes just like straight towards Vivi, and Vivi was walking, like literally stumbling like she was drunk and shaking, but she was walking, and she was like so excited. Oh my god. Theo really doesn't want to go because it's like, I'm gonna miss you, I'm gonna miss my girls, I want to stay back. And Winter is like, Theo, you're gonna win this year next. Even if it means I have to patch you up myself and strap you to that bull, you have to win. I want to tell our daughter that her dad is a winner. Okay, so Theo is leaving. He now says te Vivi, and that makes Winter ask, what does that mean? He's like, oh, that it means I leave you. She was like, I love you. He said, no, it's Portuguese. I live you, which means you're the heart of everything I do. Like, it's sweeter than saying I love you, right? So it just leads her to saying that, oh, Theo doesn't know much of Portuguese because his dad left that culture when he came to Canada and was really trying to blend in. But then Winter just says, oh, we need to go to Brazil sometime so that Vivi can learn her grandpa's ancestry. And these are the little things about Winter, because at this point she's never told Theo I love you yet, but these little things about her speaks volumes to him, or besides I love you, right? So there's the last goodbyes and he goes for the road to win a championship. Now in this next scene, Winter and the girls, basically like Sloan, Summer, all of Willer, everybody right now, even with some of the kids, Vivian and one of the kids, they're playing on the floor. Loretta, like Theo's mom, she's still around. She's gonna be around until Vivi's first birthday, like, so she's like staying for like 2 months plus before she goes back to where she's coming from. And honestly, Winter is so used to Loretta by this time because she feels like the mom she should have had, because Winter and her parents are like on a bad note. No, but Loretta is so chill, feels like, oh my gosh, I love this lady. She feels like the parent I should have had. So Winter is really not looking forward to Loretta leaving. Well, all of them are together and they're watching TV. I mean, others are distracted. It's mostly Winter's attention on that television because that is Theo's rodeo competition and he's showing on TV. He needs to stay on a mean bull, like like bull riding, this mean bull. And the meaner the bull and the longer you stay on it, definitely the higher your score goes. So that's a good thing that the bull is mean, but that means you need great skill to stay on it until at least for 8 seconds and not get thrown out to score really high. Really slow moments, that slow moments, and he gets on the bull and he does all these tactics and holds it up, but thankfully he doesn't get hurt. And then when the time is up, he makes it away from that. It's not like before when he was young and he does this showy mount off and stuff. Now he knows better. He has something he's living for, and his helmet always stays firmly on. And guess what? His score turned out great, 95.75. Them still celebrating, oh my god, Theo did so great, this is the score he needed, that gives him this edge. Next thing, there's a flower delivery, like this person comes to flower delivery, and this is a Friday night, so who could have sent it? And they're thinking, is it Theo? Is it a romantic gesture? Only for the person who came to deliver the flowers to say, you've been served. And that was from you've been served. And then they gave her blood red roses, right? And it's from Rob. And it was Summer actually who opened the envelope, and it was Rob demanding paternity test, his own form of blood runs, like Winter saw red. Winter had to call Theo to inform him that Rob had stroke. that he just showed up with all of this and he's demanding paternity test and there'll be court hearings. So Theo, who has been meeting her, now saw his excuse and was like, I'm going to come back, I'm going to follow you to this court hearings. And Winter was like, no, I'm not asking you to come and save me. You better stay there, better go and win the championship you're facing. Theo, for all of a long time, he's been keeping it together. As far, oh, he found out he was a dad, he jumped into it. He didn't even ask questions as far, are you sure if she's my daughter? Did you run a paternity test? You understand, he just trusted Winter at face value. But right now, with all the pressure he's been going through, it now kind of, accumulates into this moment. And he ends up expressing it to the wrong person. You get? As far, there was this doubt that arose, and he now asked Winter, she's my daughter, Winter, right? As far, Vivian is my child. And then there was this silence. You know, that countdown of doom. And then Winter now replied in this hard voice, well, I guess we're about to find out. And then she ended the call. So Theo was choked. He was hot. I mean, he's been holding back his emotions for weeks, taking care of everyone else around him, but not taking care of himself. And he just happened to blow up at the wrong person. The person who feels everybody thinks the worst of her, that's just the person you had to lash out at. So Red tries to be there for Theo as my man, you messed up, but guy, Theo was not just feeling anybody's comfort as I just want to be alone, or with Winter who's just not picking up my calls, because he was now trying to call her but she's not picking. He ignored his mom's call, he ignored Summer's calls, and this is like midnight on Friday before he now finally decides that guy, it's not like I can go back there or do anything right now at this time. So he just had to off his phone and plugged it and went to bed. So it was now on Winter's own side. She actually fell asleep early because she was trying to put Vivian to sleep, but she fell asleep with Vivian. So sometime at some minutes past midnight, Vivian woke her up as per, mommy, I want to eat, as per, touching her boobs. She wants food. Now as she woke up and attended to Vivian, she now remembered, oh, this is why I actually fell asleep, but this was happening before I fell asleep. She's like, that you is going to get an earful. She's not acting like, how could he have said that kind of thing? And she's not really being big dramatic about it, right? She's just like, I'm going to give him an earful for that thing he said, as far, I'll para him for it. But it's not like, it's not too serious. And next thing, someone comes into the room and she's like, and she's surprised that Winter is not even angry about that Theo for cracking. She's like, I've been expecting him to crack since. That him being all cool, happy Theo all the time, that is not normal. He's not a superhuman. Do you understand? So after they went through that phase, Suma was like, actually, I've been going through the papers that, Rob sent. Remember, Suma is a lawyer, but she's not really practicing. And I've decided that I'm ready to report Rob to the medical board for what he did to me. You understand? And Winter was like, okay. She was never going to ask Summer to do this. So this whole thing with Summer coming up to say, hey, I want to do this, it makes Winter feel I should be more collaborative, including asking Theo to even attend the court hearing, because I actually need him. I'm scared to face this alone. But I've all been like, I'm a strong woman, I can keep it together. But I actually need help to get through this time. So having decided, she now grabs her phone, they have start calling him. The call is going to voicemail. The ugly head of doubt also now read up in her own head now, because it's like, remember those days I got pregnant, I was trying to call him, this was the kind of thing that was happening. Is it repeating itself? Did I actually push him away just because of one mistake he did? Haba. And this is like 12:10 p.m. She now was like, okay, I'm going to wait until morning to call him. And it's tough. Because by the time Summer stepped over, as far the ranch is lonely, Wright is on the road with Theo. Wright is now a coach, yeah? And so by the time Summer now woke up in the morning, she saw Winter. Winter has not slept since that time. She was just awake. She had already even booked plane tickets to Billings, where Theo was currently at. And she was like, Summer, find out from where his hotel and his hotel room number. I'm going there right now. Because how is it that he's not picking my call? Like, why is he not picking my call? I mean, see Winter got all bossy as far he was paying me attention. Instead of being like, oh, he's not answering me, shut down. I mean, this is a growth, a huge character arc for her. It's a growth. So, yeah, Winter, we're on this with you. Then, Theo was pacing the room, okay? Because he was still thinking, oh, I need to call Winter, I need to apologize, what am I going to say to her? And next thing, he now heard the door knock, and he was thinking it was Rhett at the door. Then he now opened the door, only for him to see Winter, Vivi, in a baby stroller, and then little Peter on a leash. Everybody, the whole gang had come. So, as far, he did not know if to be happy or if to be, like, what is this supposed to mean? And next thing, Vivi now pointed at him and said, screaming, da 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 da. You understand? He's like, oh my yeah. And Winter was like, yes, she said it first last night, and that's why I was calling you to tell you the good news. But then guess what? Your phone wasn't, you weren't picking up your call. And Winter is like, I'm doing what I should have done that first time I found out I was pregnant, showing up at your doorstep and demanding you pay attention to me. Winter, Theo now said, apologize. I'm really sorry for all I said. And then she now said, wait, Theo, you do have to realize we're going to fight. We're gonna have bad days. That's it. Happy go lucky Theo, who everybody's always pleased with. That's unrealistic. But then if you're going to be a mess, you have to be a mess with me. You understand? I mean, what she says is heavily profound, because normally we expect that if we love someone, there should be no fights, it's all happy hour. But no, we'll fight. But it doesn't mean we're gonna run from each other. We're going to stay there and sort things out together. Then after this whole moment of making up, I mean, there's this grand reunion, and Thierry saying he now hugged her and she didn't fight him. Like, Winter, come on in. And she's like, as she now came in, she was like, no sluts, right? Like, he did not bring any girl into this room that I have to get mad at you for. And then he just smiled and was like, only here, just one. And then he now hugged her from behind. I thought, you're my only. But also, it's also important to know that in this moment of railing him, she also admitted, I love you. And that was the first time she was saying it. And honestly, it's a big deal for him, because he's been doubting, does Winter like me? Does Winter not like me? Because she hasn't ever said that she loves me, and it feels like I'm the one who likes her more than she likes me. So anyhow, Theo's next rodeo for, Winter, they did not go back. Winter was in the stands with Vivi, and she was just looking good in this like fitted jeans and top, and Theo kept being distracted. Right, had to be like, put your head in the game. That bull does not care that your family is there in the stands. So anyhow, Theo gets his head in the game and he comes out with another top score, 9-6 for 2-5. That's like really cool. And then Winter, they're like cheering for him, and then he runs over to Winter, they kiss publicly, and later he goes back to stand, to get his prize and his glory for winning. And the reporter now asked him, how does it feel being back, to rodeoing after your recovery? He was like, oh, I'm glad to have spent quality time with my family. I mean, right there in the stands, my daughter is here with the woman I'm going to marry. And then Winter, even though it's like sudden, and normally Winter will be like, roll her eyes. So she's just like celebrating, like, yeah, that's me. Then after this, Theo went home with them to Chestnut Springs, because there was just like little lull. And then Winter was like, Theo, I know I asked you, to go to the car here with me, but I really need you there. And then he went with her. You understand? Because, and even before he went with her, he's like, Winter, I'll be there for you as long as I'm breathing. So he goes to her, and then Winter is like in this baby blue suit, and he's in this dark suit, and then he's carrying Vivi in his arms, and they're passing Rob, and Winter just keeps her face straight on, or just looking at Theo, and Theo is the one who now looks at Rob and winks at him as per, I got the woman and the baby, y'all. And Winter really needed that confidence boost, because she was not feeling brave at all at this scene. After the court hearing, obviously now they're waiting for like the DNA results to come out, and everything kind of goes well. So for that period of 2 weeks or so, Winter, Peter, the dog, and their daughter Vivi, they joined Theo on the road for 2 hours. And if you keep wondering why my eyes keep wandering out, like I said, I'm recording in the car, and ahead of me in my neighborhood, Turkey, Torotoro, so I keep getting distracted by them and by people passing. This is why it's also not good to record outside. Either they distract you, or you distract them, or you're self-conscious or they're self-conscious. And either way, this is, I applaud myself for being brave. I applaud myself. So throughout those 2 weeks that they're on the road, Winter was like so clingy, and she was owning it. So when they returned, after that 2 weeks, and they now found 2 envelopes in front of the house, Theo tried to play it off as no big deal. He just carried Vivi as well. Okay, Winter handled the envelopes, they're containing the DNA test results and all that. So he now carried Vivi, laid her to sleep, and then when he now came out, Winter was waiting for him with the envelopes unopened as well. Did you think I'll open these envelopes without you? Oh yeah. She now opened, the first one she opened showed that Rob is not the father of Vivi. Obviously, she knows who gave her belly. Then the second one now showed Vivi's name change from Vivian, from Vivian Hamilton to Vivian Loretta Silva. That's like, here is a steady part of their lives, right? He's no longer just a trooper or a third person. So to commemorate this moment, there was some love making on the couch. So now, Rob punishment time. Well, Winter carried the envelope. She did not go alone, because she went with Rhett, Summer, Theo. They were standing behind in the car, watching her walk up to Rob's front door. This is actually a great moment for her because Rob had always thrived on Winter being alone and having nobody to rely on. But right now she has people on her side willing to fight her battles. She's no longer alone, right? So she gives Rob, you know, that roses that he delivered to her that night when he asked for paternity test. She didn't throw them away. She just kept them in vase. And as she was away on the road for 2 weeks and came back and they were rotten, she brought back the rotten flowers, gave it to him. I know, in a vase, and in front of the vase there was the envelope that was attached to show that Vivian is not his own. Why should Vivian be his own? So, and that envelope that contained affidavits from Summer and Winter that the hospital admin and medical board would love, right? So now they've already outed him, so he's going to lose everything. They've ruined him. And he's like so angry, right? As far as he turns purple, he smashes it. But Winter walked away free woman, just feeling herself like, okay. So now it's Vivi's 1-year-old birthday, and everybody pitched in to like make this happen. This is happening on Rhett's ranch. So, and after Vivi's 1-year-old birthday, Winter, she's like, okay, I have to finally stop running from returning to work. I have to return to work. So she has to return to work in a week after this. So everybody, like I said, they pitched in to make it incredible. The one person baked cake, another person set up decoration, another person set up punch table, caters this, like all the adults, all their friends. And at this time, Vivi has just left, you know, she has left from walking to running. And then Tia will not be chasing her. She'll not be like, you know, her father is chasing her. So kids, handful, but then adorable. So now the person who unexpectedly shows up at this birthday is Kip, Winter's father. And I love that he showed up here because even during the whole court case thing against Rob, he was a person that he called Winter and gave her the contact of his own family attorney and said, oh, she's a kick-ass one, she's going to help you. And also Kip is finally leaving Marina. I mean, their marriage has been dead for years. But then he's now finally taking courage to like, I'm going to leave this toxic woman. I'm going to try starting my life again and having fun for the, you know, living my life for the rest of the time I have. So he showed up. And then of all things she showed up with on Vivi's birthday to set up, it was a dollhouse. Now, the history of this dollhouse is that when Winter was younger, right, she had that dollhouse when she was like 4 years old, and she loved it so much. But one time when Summer was crying, because Summer was born, you know, was a baby when Winter was 4, and you remember that, you know, they were not mixing. So Marina was at home. Kip went out to get something, but she just ignored crying Summer. As far as she can cry, I don't care. And Winter didn't know what to do. 4-year-old her. So what she just did innocently was that she climbed into the crib with Summer to keep her company. So when Kip came back from where he went out to buy something, he saw both of them like that. So it ended up with him having an argument with Marina, and Marina was angry with Winter for making her look bad. So she took away Winter's dollhouse, like this elaborate, beautiful dollhouse. And so Winter learned at that age that, oh, bad things happen, whether it's to me or to other people, if I try to be nice to Summer, right? Until she just grew up and ended up stopping to give figs, okay? So it brings her to tears seeing that dollhouse. And Kip said that, oh, when he saw it in the trash those many years ago, he wanted to give it back to Winter, but he didn't know how. So you can see that Kip is a good man, but definitely he made mistakes, and everybody does. So, and Winter is like, okay, I mean, look at me. Summer forgave me. Theo is here with me. And it's now me that will now be carrying beef for Kip. So as Kip just said, okay, my work here is done and he's trying to go. So Winter was like, well, you know, you can stay. Now, in the heart of all of this, Theo now took Winter aside. You know, basically the party still going on, just like, okay, Winter now took her aside to the spot where they first argued that night. They first came to Rhett's ranch, and there he proposed. And he said, we were a little reckless that night, but I'll choose it again. I'll choose it all again if it means I'll arrive here at this point where we're together. Now there's an epilogue, you know, closing section, and it's a final night of WBRF championships. So Winter ended up becoming a tour doctor so that she can just go on the road with Theo for the rest of his career, which is just a few more years left. And so the downside is that Vivi ends up getting surrounded by a lot of uncle figures, like other, you know, bull riders, and they swear a lot, which means Vivi is going to have like a sailor mouth when she grows up. Right now, this final night is happening in Las Vegas. Loretta is also there. You know, she's in a crowd there with Vivi. And Theo now completed the ride, this final ride that is going to like give him a championship. So he now got off, he ran to Winter. Winter hugged him, congratulated him, and then she now whispered in his ear like, I hope you're ready to do this daddy thing again, because baby number 2 is on its way. And honestly, that's like the most important thing to him, family. So this is where we end the story. I'm so glad we're done. I am so glad. So hopefully our next story will be Purple Hibiscus by Chimamanda Adichie. Pamela, if you don't listen to this, you're gonna be like, I'm gonna vex. So okay, so thank you so much, and see you next time. Bye.